This video is sponsored by Squarespace. For the last 5 years, I've made it my mission to try and train like Batman. Not for any noble cause or good reason, of course. Not because I'm trying to save Gotham City. Just because it's fun and it's fascinating. And because I don't like to pigeonhole my performance. Well, it's been longer than that, really. But it's been about 5 years since I began consistently training with this aim and documenting the experiment here on YouTube. Of course, it's not really been about Batman. I tell people I'm training like Batman because that's the easiest way to communicate what I'm really trying to do. I want to train to be faster, stronger, more agile, to have greater mobility, cardio, and cognitive performance. It's to improve every aspect of my physical and mental performance through training. And along the way, I've been fortunate to experiment with some really cool stuff. I've trained alongside some incredible athletes, and I've spoken with some of the biggest names in functional training. Here's what I've learned. First, performance is not a priority for most people. These are my goals for training, but they're actually pretty out there. Most training programs seem to be designed to improve aesthetics. That might mean improving muscle mass or losing weight. Some people are interested in getting a little healthier maybe, or rehabbing injuries, but that's about as far as the more functional-minded routines go. With the exception, of course, of training routines designed around building strength or developing specific athletic ability. You know, people who do powerlifting as a hobby or functional training for a specific sport. But in these cases, they're often pushing themselves really far in one direction, but creating deficits in other areas. So you have powerlifters, for example, who might be interested in building massive strength, but who have no concern for cardio or mobility. Then you get runners who can run huge distances, but have no real upper body strength. And often functional training aimed specifically at athletes can actually be detrimental to health over time. This is why I coined the term superfunctional training. Secondly, I learned where my limitations are. Real life gets in the way of training like Batman. Who'd have thought? He's a recluse for a reason. There are only so many hours in the day, especially if you're a parent. Injuries will happen, even to the most careful. Recovery is arguably the most important piece of the puzzle, and that means taking a slow and methodical approach. It means only choosing the most useful exercises and strategies and leaving out what's not necessary. And along the way, I've discovered some things that are far more potent than others. I'm going to recap them a little bit here for you. So early on, I discovered the value of big drop sets and pump training to grow muscles faster and to increase blood flow via angiogenesis. I think this kind of pump training gets a bad rap due to its association with pure aesthetics, but actually it has a lot going for it. And I'd later learn that the ATG Truth Group does something similar with their short-range training. After researching Bruce Lee, I began using overcoming isometrics to accelerate strength gains. That's pushing or pulling against an immovable force. And lately, I've been experimenting with using overcoming isometrics on resistance machines at the point of failure, and this experiment is currently showing a lot of promise. Feels very Batman as well, to be experimenting with these kind of techniques to build strength. Of course, the basic lifts and things like the deadlift are really important, and they're the basics for a reason. They provide a really good foundation. But we mustn't overlook other aspects of strength, such as rotational strength and grip strength, which can make just as big a difference. I've also been experimenting with extremely slow quasi-isometric movements for the last several years, and they can have transformative effects on your body control. So that's a great place to start, but I also learned that for most people, mobility limitations are more pressing than strength deficits. Lower body mobility is severely hampered for most people, to the point that they can barely use their hips. I still have a long way to go before I gain the freedom of movement that I want in this area. Slow movements and undulations at stretched positions have helped a great deal with this, as has weighted stretching. Training outdoors and using tree branches and logs genuinely builds more adaptable strength and grip power in much the same way. This kind of training is to strength training What sparring is to martial arts is about taking your practice and pressure testing it. Something that I think many more people can benefit from. I've talked at length about the ideas of Nikolai Bernstein and repetition without repetition, and I highly recommend looking into that. And using barefoot shoes on a similar note has genuinely been revelatory for the increased proprioception, control and balance. I wouldn't go back. Scheduled deep thinking has done more to improve my mindset and creativity than any other brain training strategy. I did this intuitively, but I later discovered it was a form of non-directive meditation, and I've coined the term big idea meditation for this. Through the channel, I met functional training luminary, JC Santana, who explained to me the importance of training ankle stiffness for explosiveness, and showed me how this was more important than heavy squats for things like running and jumping. After all, when does a basketball player ever stop and do a deep squat in order to dunk? In reality, the leg hardly bends beyond the running position as they launch off of one foot. It's about transferring power, not generating it. This just serves to highlight that real performance is often not what you expect. JC also explained the importance of psychomotor vigilance, keeping the mind sharp even when you're tired. A perfect example of brain training that genuinely applies to real-world performance. Strength endurance in general is also really important. It's not about being able to do something strong once, it's about being able to exert strength and performance for an extended period of time under pressure. And to that end, learning about military training, I discovered many times just how important this aspect is for those top performers. Psychology here is perhaps the number one thing that keeps you alive in a crisis, but training this is not for the faint-hearted. Holding static poses and subjecting yourself to grueling mental challenges, facing your fears, this teaches you to control your thoughts and nervous system. This is to go beyond the scope of most of the training I cover on this channel. It's something that I'm interested in discussing, but whether or not it's something many of us need, I don't know. It's certainly very Batman if you genuinely want to take your skills and make them more applicable. Neurot Trainer, meanwhile, makers of some brain training software, explained to me the role of working memory in sports vision, something you can develop with juggling and software, and this also plays a key role in skill acquisition and is an important part of training elite performers. Most valuable of all for me, though, has been the process of learning new skills. I started a long journey to develop my hand balancing, which developed my balance, my core, my mobility, and my understanding of the body. Learning concepts like straight arm strength and scapular control teaches you a language of movement that can then be applied to countless other forms of training. You can learn other new skills more quickly. Grant helped me to develop my punching technique. This in turn helped me to generate power from my core and to move the body more like a whip. Liam later helped me improve my parkour roll and showed me the proper way to climb up. I've been practicing all these things on my own ever since. So many aspects of movement that are usually overlooked. Getting help on my kettlebell swing improved my explosiveness, but also fixed my hip hinge, and moves like this are skills in themselves. I'm currently working on my running form with help from the online community. I would strongly recommend everyone to continually add to their movement vocabulary like this, and anyone who wants to perform like Batman should learn to punch, roll, climb and balance. Again, it's balancing all of this which is the challenge, but the key is to understand which aspects are crucial and which are optional. This is the difference between comic books and real life. We can't simply apply a Batman-like mindset to real life and expect not to get injured. Unlike Batman, we can't be the strongest and the fastest, but the logical choice for all-around performance is to sacrifice some strength for speed and vice versa. This means making peace with slower gains at times. But then I personally can't understand the mindset of someone who will work tirelessly to add 5 kilograms to their bench press while being unable to climb the stairs without getting winded. This selective use of our time extends to what we do beyond our training too. Beware the activities that promise a lot but amount to little more than spinning our wheels. As the Bioneer, I've experimented with countless supplements, neurotropics, fitness trackers, biohacks, and devices that border on transhumanism. Some of these have been effective, most have been fascinating, but a lot of them have been dead ends and a waste of time. A lot of biohacks amount to overinflated expectations and a waste of money. Even if taking certain supplements and sitting in ice baths will increase your results by 0.5%, that's not worth the energy it takes to implement them. Save that energy for the training. Don't roleplay high performance, just train. And for heaven's sake, remember to have some life outside of your training. This isn't just healthy, it's actually crucial for your progress. Don't be a gym cell. Don't burn out. Keep learning and exploring. Read books by Tom Myers, Paul Chek, Pavel Tsatsouline, Nikolai Bernstein, JC Santana, Stuart McGill, Ben Patrick, Brett Contreras. Understanding the fascia and studying the brain has helped me in countless ways to train smarter and more effectively. It's not just about what you do in the gym, it's about continually learning about your own body. But again, implement the concepts through training, not through hacks. We need to be extremely mindful about what we are training and why. And to help me with all this, I devised the ATP Hierarchy, a tool that I use to identify the traits and attributes that different activities develop. These are more important than the activities themselves when it comes to building a robust performance profile. And through injury, time off, or circumstance, I may lose individual moves, just as my bench press isn't as big now as it was at the start of this process. But I won't lose the proprioception as quickly, or the knowledge, and I'll regain it much more quickly. I've collected these ideas and codified this training in my online ebook and training program, Super Functional Training 2.0. If you'd like to try it for yourself, you can find the link in the description down below, and it's on discount for January. It comes with over 2 hours of instructional video and an 80+ page ebook. The journey is never ending. I will never be done. And so the biggest lesson from all of this? The body is the true final frontier. So I hope you enjoyed that little monologue, guys. I kind of thought it would be interesting to make a sort of recap of everything I've learned over the years on the channel and to highlight some of the things that actually worked and stood out for me, and maybe a little bit of what didn't. My approach to training and my general philosophy has definitely evolved a great deal as a result of running this channel. And it's through researching this channel and testing the ideas and getting feedback from you guys that my own performance has grown far more than I think it otherwise would have done. I also thought it might be nice to make a kind of montage of some of the videography from Grant and Liam and some of the more interesting days out, just to kind of summarize everything we've been doing here. This is not the Batman training program for 2023. As I said in a community post recently, I'm actually saving that for 1 million subscribers. If we hit 1 million subscribers, my promise to you guys is that we'll release the next Batman training program. Hopefully in the meantime, this is something of a compromise, and I did also say that I'm going to be working on a Red Hood training program. Either way, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for sticking around with me for all these years. A massive thank you to everyone who's bought a training program or supported me on Patreon. And here's to making 2024 the best year yet. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, and bye for now. This video was sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is a website building platform that makes it extremely easy for anyone to get up and running with their own website, whilst also offering all of the tools and features you could need to build a massive business. Getting started couldn't be simpler. You just choose a template, drag and drop elements to customize it how you want. You can be live in under an hour, genuinely, and from there, you can start adding and using all the different features available. You've got advanced formatting tools for creating beautiful blog posts and publishing them or scheduling them for later. You've got a fully integrated commenting system with threaded comments, replies and likes, member management, analytics, gated members-only content for easy revenue generation. And then, of course, there's comprehensive e-commerce support so you can start selling products directly from your site and making a living that way. And if you want to take the capabilities of your website even further, then you can use the countless plugins from the community and from Squarespace themselves to add all sorts of things like global tracking, inventory management, tax reconciliation, and so much more. This is why some of the biggest brands on the web use Squarespace to power their online presence. If you want to learn more, then go to squarespace.com. When you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Bioneer, and you can get 10% off of your first domain or website. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Thanks to you guys for watching, and bye for now.